Start the recording. Hello.
Um,
Hmm. How's the internet in the
gonna block the light
in the space?
here. Attic. It's fine. It works. It's strong to very strong. What beverage are you enjoying right now?
It's an ice water. Before you reprimand me. It's just a warm up. Just a warm up.
Well, just so we know, am I being recorded?
Oh yeah, you are. Is that okay with you?
What'd you say?
Is that a yes? You're happy?
Yes,
with
I approve. I approve.
A little disclaimer.
Okay.
The internet over at the attic does not seem to be blazing.
A little delayed?
A little delayed, but I think it's because you're coming to me from Texas.
I don't know that distance matters. I don't know what else to do here.
Is there another source of data transmission that you can tap into?
This is the strongest one, the one from my home.
All right, let's do it. So listen,
we can also redo it if it's terrible. How about that?
The internet or the conversation?
We can redo the conversation.
If the conversation's terrible or the internet?
Both options.
Perfect. Okay, optionality. As you know, there's a global pandemic going on, and I decided to start a little show. We were having a conversation before, we meaning the world, not necessarily me and you.
Right.
We were so rudely interrupted. And now we're back to talking. It's just a different conversation.
Yes. Yeah. I think things have shifted a little bit, perhaps, to put it. Yeah, it's not fun. I'll tell you that. Are you enjoying it?
Let me
this pandemic?
Yes, I am. Let me give you a disclaimer, though. I'm concerned about people.
Right.
Their health, their well-being. I'm concerned about the economy. You know me. I have some OCD tendencies, as you're well aware of, having lived together.
Didn't know that, didn't I? Oh, those, yes, I know those.
Yes, those. And so, if I can be in an environment where there is no people, sounds, smell, or anything.
Germs.
I'm actually not a germaphobe, oddly.
How about viruses?
Viruses are a problem, although not for the germs, more for the other things. But
got it.
Anyway, I enjoy living in Atlanta without traffic. I enjoy not having to do the same thing that I feel like I've been doing for the last decade. I like the creative, opportunity of all this to reinvent. And I like being able to get more work done faster so I can go play with the family.
That's a challenge. I'm surprised you're getting more work done faster. Our workflow has been we're busy, but it's like everybody's just detached. I can't, draw and sketch and tell people what to do if they're not, so it's all a little slower. I like sitting in my attic all day long.
It suits you too. I like the beard. I like the length of it and the color of it, which
got grayer since I shaved a year ago. Not even a year ago.
It's good. So you sent me some, thoughts for the conversation, and
just a little workup.
Yeah, I like them. It made me think.
Random.
Thematically, though, we can kind of wrap them all into what I'm calling a midlife check-in of
Well,
sorts.
the four are fully bound together.
Yeah, they are. But
100. Well, okay, five. No, they're all bound together.
it is part of life. I do think, though, that for the 15 viewers that we may have
Yeah.
over the totality of this online, that we should
Mhm.
let people know a little bit about the early days.
Sure.
Correct me if I'm
The
wrong.
background.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. You're from New Orleans,
Correct. New Orleans.
and we grew up together.
Yes. This is true. Affirmative.
What was it like growing up in the Stouse household as a young Michael Stouse?
It was not what you'd think. Yes, I come from a big family with three older brothers, which is typically on paper that would be this cacophonous thing, but they were all gone. I'm the mistake. So they were all out of the house, and it was me and my mom and dad. And my dad was a 1950s dad, not a lovey-dovey dad. So it was essentially me and my mom and just hanging. I was a little bit of a weird guy that liked to sit in the attic like I do now and be by myself. But I had all these older brothers that were kind of more like that would sweep into town from college, or my oldest one actually lived with us for a little while. So, but it was a great way of having like a modeling was going on. Well, like I could see how to grow up or whatever, or how to be a decent person or a fun person or a funny person, or whatever. Like I had lots of examples, and I could just sit and observe and figure out who I was.
Was it
That's
lonely?
Yeah, but I kind of like, as I've mentioned already 3 times,
As we
that
can clearly see.
I could be a hermit if I couldn't. I couldn't. I like being alone, but I really like. This is the Corona thing is making me suffer through very antisocial. Like I like seeing people, just not too many people.
Right. But what you're saying though is that you're susceptible to the trappings of a hermit lifestyle.
Yes, I could see the advantage of being a hermit. My favorite thing to do is go out to dinner with people and have a bunch of drinks and talk. So I'm not getting much of that unless you count sitting in the front yard and binge drinking.
Right. So you mentioned you were the mistake. Has that been confirmed by your?
Well, here's what I'm going to do because this is distracting. There we go. And now I can just look at the camera like I'm supposed
Right.
to. Wait, what was that question? That was a good question.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you were the mistake. Is that?
Oh, right. No, my mother would never admit that, but do the math, right? Like it's there's the spacing is exponentially greater with each kid. Like 1 year difference, 3 year or whatever, 5 year difference, 7 year difference. So she liked prime numbers, maybe.
Right.
But the story is, we want to do one last try for a girl. But my mom was 39, my dad 5. That doesn't add up to me. But I don't. It doesn't bother me. Like I feel like I snuck into the party, right? Like it's like I tricked everybody by being here. I feel lucky. I don't feel forgotten or whatever.
Right. Okay. That's what I thought. Because you don't act like a mistake to me.
Well,
You
okay. If
know,
someone's a mistake, what's the opposite? Not being alive. So I'm okay with that. I was never unwanted. I'll
Well,
put
you
it that
could
way.
have actually been not a mistake and been alive had you been planned. I mean, I'm not a doctor.
I think we're getting existential here.
Right.
No, I think what you're getting at is unwanted, which is an entirely different thing.
Yeah.
And and frankly, we're talking about fathers. That was the last thing on the list. And that this is not a begrudge. There's a chance my dad didn't want me. Like, oh God, another kid. It's just dollar signs, right? Like, okay.
the brooding on the roof alone. One thing that I've been um, holding in very high regard uh, since we first met was your um, taking a gallon of milk and pouring it into a glass to the point of it overflowing.
Never did it. I always wanted to do it.
What?
So yeah, unmet dreams is what you're looking at right here.
Go get yourself some milk.
I can't waste it. It makes so much mess when you pour it out of the glass.
So I've been thinking that's the best.
I always wanted to do it or see someone else do it, and it never happened. Be pretty easy now. Milk's not that expensive. It's the cleaning. The cleaning I don't want to do.
It's the mindset. So along those lines, you know, your father was probably, how old would he have been in the Great Depression?
He was born in the Great Depression. He was born in 1927, right? Or right before the Great. When did 29 was the fall?
He was a pretty young guy to start the family then.
No, he got married at 32, which was old for that.
Then
in the 1950s.
Then he would have been a 60s dad.
Correct.
Okay.
He's a 60s dad. Yes.
God. Okay, so that helps. But anyway, if you think about the Great Depression, which I've been thinking about since we're.
Yeah, we better start thinking about it.
Yeah, I clicked on over to CNN.com this morning and it said, "Welcome to the worst economy in history."
I saw for my run at about 6 in the morning. That was the first thing I was greeted with.
That one. I got that one in before coffee. That was nice.
Jeez.
So, but it's if you think about it, we've for forever, I would imagine most people have thought like about the Great Depression as this really huge moment in the history of, you know, the civilized world in terms of like industry and whatnot. And we're going through one, and it's definitely big and it's definitely impactful. It doesn't have the same relevance yet. Maybe that's because there's not the perspective.
How long did the Depression last?
I'm not sure.
Because I felt like, and I know you had it pretty tough in the Great Recession. I had it minorly tough, but not really. And
I had the Great Depression
that was short
during the Great Recession.
Yeah, me too. So that, that was probably it happened in 2008, but it didn't affect maybe everybody till maybe 9 or 10. But that was like a 2-year deal, right? But I think the Depression was more like 5 or 10.
Well, the Great Recession really lasted for about 8 years. I mean, maybe 6, like technically.
Because of, like not consecutive rising quarters.
Right.
In any event, I feel like I've got a little scar tissue, as you do too. Like we've been through one of these. Maybe it won't be as bad. I don't think we're going to know this one until 6 months from now. If you want to know how it's going to be, call me and ask me how I'm doing, business-wise, because I'm a luxury. People can just, if they run out of money, they stop me immediately. I'm an architect, by the way, for our many viewers.
Yes. He is, and a very good one. So on that note, for a moment, I am coming to you live from Constellations.
Lovely. It looks lovely.
Yeah, well, you should know, you and your lovely wife, Kelly, designed all the interiors for it.
And I will give credit where credit's due, and she's the for that particular project, I'll give her all the. I was merely a middleman, but she did a good job, and she enjoyed it. In fact, when we listened to your last conversation, we were in the car, and she said something. She's like, something about hearing. Did she tell you this? And she's like, something about hearing the cadence of Gene's voice made me happy.
Nice.
That's kind of a good effect on people.
That's
right?
a kind compliment.
I don't have the same feeling. But,
No. Never. So tonight is the eve of the 2-year anniversary.
Of opening?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
I like I could, and I like it because I think it's something I could never do. But I like how you're the building and the co-work space is almost secondary. Like you are hammering the kind of team building exercises, cultural, talks and podcasts and libraries
right.
and all this stuff. I love that you're like a camp counselor. You're like just giving. Seems like a great. Like I would love to have an office there and
Nice.
have someone do the stuff that I can't, and I'll just show up and get some friends, some culture, some talks, some food, some drinks.
That's a very nice compliment as well. It's fun. Yeah, I kind of sometimes feel like um, it's similar to like a Wes Anderson movie come to life over here. Like
That's a
today,
that's a compliment. Can I move there?
come on. So, like our friend Jamie Allen, who's a writer, he's also the creator of the Squirrel Census, was over today curating our library
Yeah,
because,
I
like,
saw that. I saw it on the gram.
you saw that, yeah. So, like everything changed, we have to change with it, or we croak.
So your
And
library can't get stale. You gotta change all your stuff out so people can be engaged all the time.
yeah, and to be relevant to the cultural conversation of today, which is about health and um, well-being and respect and
And
empathy,
men, mental health.
mental health. And so because of that and because of where we are in the birthplace of the civil rights movement, we went from the civic, social, civil rights themed library to one of universal truths. And
Mm.
it's awesome. There's some great books and some great um, accoutrement.
So how do people get any work done over there? Are they just hanging out, drinking coffee in the library?
Private offices. It's the way to go. I think it would have to stay that way too, just, you know, um, for the type of work. If for some reason it were to really change, the people who are coming into it in school now might not really know the difference. It's like
Yeah,
you and I don't know what it was like um, before television.
I think you're right. I mean, I think people younger set that's used to doing this, and my daughter doesn't communicate on the phone. She communicates via Snapchat and text and pictures. So it's like they've turned off that part of their brain. And so that so young, like if I hired a super young architect, they would not know how to sit in a meeting and be nice to somebody or show an expression of like
And
kiss
it's hard
somebody's
to show
ass
an
or
expression in a mask.
very.
I'm just saying.
I can do it, but it's hard.
You got to do it with your brows. But that's the other thing. I mean,
Or your glass, you can just say,
I have I understand and appreciate the reason for the masks. I don't like them. I think they're scary. I think they're unattractive.
yeah,
And I think it
yeah,
takes away at least, what is that, a third to
call it a half.
a half of like our communication ability with our face. That's
I
a
feel
problem.
so. When have you worn one? Like what situations have you worn one? At the grocery store or whatever?
I used to wear them a lot.
What do you mean you used to?
No, uh,
I wear them. I just wear them in bed. It makes me feel comfortable.
I like to shower in a mask. No, but
Like a snorkel mask?
I just go with the bandana because
Yeah,
you know.
I have a dust mask and a bandana, like a double layer thing. But what what my experience, and it makes no sense. I feel like I can't see, but my eyes are fine. But I'm like in the grocery store. I'm kind of like it's
Yeah,
like I got no peripheral vision for
you
whatever. But
feel like you can't see.
it's weird. It's a weird scenario.
Uh,
Weird sensation.
so going back to New Orleans for a moment, and it
Yeah.
ties into this. So Richard Fawcett, who we went to school with, he's
Right.
New York Times bureau chief here in Atlanta.
Journalist. Oh, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
a cool. Yeah. Okay.
At the end of this, I'm gonna give out his phone number and email address. Richard, if you're watching, he wrote a really great piece about New Orleans and how it became a hotspot because of our culture there. Mardi Gras and being social. And, you know, that is a major issue when, you know, what's ingrained in you and your DNA or the DNA of a city has to change.
I wouldn't ever ask it to change. You know, I don't think Mardi Gras should get canceled. I don't think bars should close. Like, let's find a vaccine and deal with it. But
Yeah.
I don't want to ever lose. Like, talking to somebody from 6 feet apart is really hard. And I'm not a touchy, like, close talker guy. Like, I can't communicate with somebody unless I'm, you know, like, that makes me look like a close talker. But and you know, if I want
approximately 1,800 miles away.
So I don't know if this is what you were getting at, but I definitely know the reason New Orleans was a hotspot. I don't think it's a problem. It's just that led to it being a hotspot. But
right. And
humans shouldn't have to be apart. That's what I think.
Right. But I do think that New Orleans is this blend of comedy and tragedy. And like, you know, we're that city where death is so present through mausoleums and there's like a darkness to it and all that. And I think that that's good with the city, not how it's happening today, just that death is a part of life. And you had put on your list of things to chat about death.
I mean, aren't you kind of proud of that when you say that sentence? Aren't you? That makes I'm kind of like, fuck yeah, it is. Like, that's it.
Right.
Love it.
I do. I am proud of it, and because it's a part of us, and the and I'm proud to be from New Orleans. I also think that there's at least with me and you and the rest of our friends, a kind of air of appreciation for dark comedy. And I wouldn't say this if I thought anyone else would ever watch this show. No, I'm kidding, because I actually think this is going to be a huge hit.
Oh, huge.
I told Deanna that she was saying that, like, for her birthday, she doesn't want people coming by and doing the procession.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. I told her, if I happen to croak during this thing, I don't need the procession. I can wait.
For what?
I'll be fine.
What are you waiting for?
I'll be dead. Y'all come later. Okay. Just come in person.
Oh, like a proper.
Oh yeah.
Goodbye.
No, I would like a jazz funeral. That type of procession's fine. I don't want everyone coming by my house honking.
Yeah. I mean, it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing.
Yeah, and to be able to celebrate life, I might feel differently. I mean, I know one of our good friends lost a parent recently, and they did that and loved it, and that's great and cool for them.
Yeah,
I'll be okay waiting.
New Orleans is a little bit more on the other side of that than the scary death thing. You know, there's houses of the dead and there's tourists going through there all day long.
I delivered a pizza to one. For real.
That's fantastic.
It's on Magazine Street, and
did you take a bite? That's the question.
No, I took a negative tip and left as quickly as possible.
I got knifed and shivved, and then I left.
No, but so my dad died about 6.5 years ago, and
our dads died within 6 months of each other, right? Within a year.
Within a year.
For sure. Mine was 13. Yours was what? 2013.
In December.
Oh, so we were 6 months. Yeah.
So, because we were going to be coming home for Christmas, as all good Jews do, to celebrate.
Of course. Duh.
That's another thing I love about New Orleans. We have a tree, not the manger. But anyway, came back a couple of weeks after he died, and we had a party at the house, and a bunch of friends and family
Pretty
friends.
sure my mom came to that party.
Yeah, and it was a really nice thing. It was like it was a different type of a procession, and it was a celebration.
Yeah.
And it was fun, and it was him.
That's all you want. And I probably should apologize 6 years late that I should have been there. I know that now, like I've bent over backwards to go to our other good friend who lost his father, just because I thought it was the right thing to do.
It was. It was a nice thing to do. Had I known
And I
his
had
father died, I might have gone too. But anyway,
communication. We weren't Zoom calling then.
the when I guess it was like, so I'm 47 now. When I was 43, I had maybe 5 or so friends die within like
Really?
6 months. Yeah. And I
Man.
called our friend Dick Montgomery.
Who's got some levity. He adds levity to any
He's good
situation.
at levity. But anyway, it wasn't even to talk about all this. And he was like, how's it going? I was like, I'm having a midlife awareness, I was calling it. Because
Yeah.
it puts it in perspective. And he goes, I'm in a full-blown crisis.
Good to hear. Made you feel better, probably.
It did. No, but I think like, death has that effect of focusing us and taking some inventory. And I also think that this time with coronavirus
Yeah.
has a focusing element. That's
No, you beat me to it. I think that's right. I mean, the death thing gives you a brief perspective, and then you go to work on Monday. Like it's got to get back on the treadmill. But this is causing everybody to. I'm spending 26 hours a day with my spouse, and I'm understanding that we actually get along. Like I love her, and but a lot of people are not going to get there. A lot of people are like, I can't stand this guy or this girl.
Well, then that
whatever.
might be okay too, because it changes. That's where I think there's the parallel with, especially,
Honesty.
well, yeah, around the midlife and kind of when you start seeing people of your own age die, at least for me, and I think for a lot of others, you start asking yourself the same question. What am I going to do with the rest of my life applied to every part of your life? How am I going to work, travel? What kind of dad do I want to be? Who do I want to hang out with? And right now, what's going on, because we all have a lot to lose or have lost something, I think it's bringing up the same question. And fortunately, we're seeing these silver linings. Spending more time in the attic.
No, so here, hold on. There's a really old stereo. Can you see it?
It looks like a lamp.
Well, it's this black mass right here.
Stereo.
So I've tapped into all my old cassettes and CDs.
Best handwriting of any friend, by the way.
And I actually heard a thing on NPR of these two music nerds doing the same thing. Like, oh, I've just rediscovered my 90s through 80s CD collection. And this guy said that when you listen to music, it's carved neural pathways into your brain, because of when you heard that, you were a teenager or a high schooler, and that's when all this stuff, that's when your brain is really still forming, and it's unerasable. And like when you listen to music, old music that you haven't listened to in a while, it conjures up this this swell of memory, and just like smell does, like memory and nostalgia and all this stuff. And so I'm sitting up here working my ass off and listening to old music, and I'm sitting, and then I get on my phone and I text my brothers or Benny, old friends and stuff. They're like, remember this?
So,
Oh, and the song was from your house. Grace Jones,
yes.
Love You on Rose.
Yes.
I used to play that in my had a really cool old 1975 BMW that you never saw because I wrecked it inside of a year. But that was like, okay, I'm in a cool car. I'm listening to this cool 70s disco music, and like, I'm cool. I'm an architecture student.
My parents had a great scene going on 1970s, 80s in New Orleans.
Hey, they had a good scene going in 1988, 89
They did.
at Club Delhine.
It was fun, man. So,
Good.
I was thinking about this on the way over here tonight. You are a major reason that I'm here right now, from here, and even in Atlanta.
For reals?
Yeah, because, well, we were on the trip together in high school to come to Atlanta, which was a lot
Yeah.
more, though, because your brother lived here and you knew about it and ended up saying, I'm moving to Atlanta after college. And I was like, that sounds great. Where's my room?
That house was great.
Yeah.
We should never have let Marty Head kick us out.
But it turns out that that one of my good friends now lived in like a cinder block apartment building next door. Ryan Gravel, who created the Beltline here, he also worked at Perkins and Will, where you did. And from our house, you would walk to work.
Right. Insanely.
Shine.
Weird.
Well,
okay.
Time. And then
that was aggressive.
That was every Monday through Friday, walk, and then on Friday, stumble home after work.
It's weird that that was a good mile or half mile on the way home, right?
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah, we were.
God, it was hot. It was so hot.
We would come home sweating and drunk.
Young, very young. Okay, hold on. Calculator.
So while you're doing that, you got me kind of excited. I'm gonna go get a beer.
We've had more time on this flip side than we have.
Right.
25 on this side of that age, 22 on that side of that age.
Yeah. 25 years, July 3rd.
I'm also a little one more hats off to you before you go get your beer. In the same admiration, the cultural development at Constellations, you've lived in the same damn place since after college, which is, I've lived in like 6 different places, but you've lived in Atlanta for 25 years. That's and you're rooting down and you're doing your thing and you're like becoming part of the community, which is what cities need and want. Like, yeah, you didn't grow up here, but thanks for your service, kind of deal. So,
yeah, no, well, thank you. I mean,
good job.
Thank you. And thank you for having me.
Like, you're welcome, Atlanta. You're welcome.
But a lot of it's been kind of a reinvention, because it's a whole different Atlanta. I'm a whole different, like, obviously, I think.
Hey, people change, man.
And also the same, but like, I do have a high degree of appreciation for nostalgia, and it's fun to kind of be in the same city and have it. So like, when we moved onto Standish and Deering, it was when Freaknik was at its height.
Oh,
I would even go as far.
We stayed indoors, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, yeah.
And I walked from our house up to the corner to see what was going on.
The beer mug, to be sure.
And there were these guys hanging out of the roof of a limo, and they handed me a mixtape, much like the one you have in your hand right now, except that it was their mixtape.
Except that it was Kanye West before he hit it.
Outkast.
Come on.
Yeah, I have
it. You still have it?
Yeah, I've got.
Okay. Tape. You may be able to auction it off for a lot of money.
Where?
Don't know. eBay, I hear, is a thing.
All right, just talk amongst yourself, and I'll be right back.
That's
or
I
not.
can't do this.
Show the non-viewers something. Tell them something about me that I don't know. I'll be right
I'm turning off my.
back. And I'm back. Not
Very
funny.
fast. Very fast.
I've never had this. It's the night on Ponce, which is
So we've gone past your half hour. Is that okay?
yeah. Normally it wouldn't be.
I've got some. Hey, guy. I've got some guests coming in a little bit, so I do need to cut off.
5 minutes. All right. Let's take a quick look at.
Okay, so I do want to touch on one thing, and I think it's something you and I have in common,
Mm-hmm.
and it ties back to New Orleans, but so without naming names, there are now, well, one's moved back, so now there's 4-ish of good friends that don't where we grew up.
Right.
And we grew up in a place that we still love and admire but do you think that the fact that we don't live there makes us greater fans, almost expat, like we know more, there's self-awareness or urban awareness by not living there versus living there?
Sometimes.
Talk a little bit about that.
Well, it's a good question. Yes, because we can have a little perspective. We're not in it. I also think no, because we ascribe like the version of it that we want.
That's
We
true.
we thought of, and you would probably know better than I would because y'all did move back for a time.
Yeah.
We thought about moving to New Orleans.
I know. And you thought about moving here.
Yeah, I was ready for a change. I think that relationships with cities are similar to those with people. There's the 7-year itch is a real thing. And like
Yeah.
clockwork, every 7 years in Atlanta, I'm like, I'm out of here. I haven't done it obviously, but in New Orleans, I was really like, I was ready to go. Deanna wanted to go, and we put in an offer on a house.
Did you?
Yeah, an Arthur Davis house. We
Curtis and Davis. Okay. It was a partnership.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we came in, I think, dead last out of maybe 40 offers.
It is.
That's beside the point. We were already in New Orleans because we had a trip planned, and then we started really thinking about it and got back here and we're like, we're not moving. And
Yeah.
Dupes said, is it because you realized that every facet of your life would have to change? And I said, yeah, because it's like,
it would be it. I think I remember talking maybe with you or maybe with another friend of ours. I think we're trying not to name names, right?
right. I mean, no one.
I think we thought it was a bad idea.
By the way, sounds like company may have arrived. Are y'all having a dog over for drinks?
Doesn't start till 6:30.
Okay. Yeah, so Levi loves New Orleans, and I love that he loves it and he gets it. And sometimes I say this to him, and he's 5.5, so maybe he gets it or maybe he doesn't. But sometimes I tell him he's from New Orleans, meaning of New Orleans, but he'll look at me. I need to look quickly. Yeah. We've covered a lot tonight.
We didn't cover friends, but that's okay.
Well, we have in the fabric of the conversation.
We didn't cover Zoom or alcoholism and drinking, but I think that's implied.
How are you feeling drinking on Zoom? There you go.
Is that an Atlanta beer?
I hope so because it's called A Night on Ponce.
Better be.
Three.
How is
This
Goldie?
is good, by the way. What's that?
Is Goldie still alive?
Oh, Blondie. She actually left me a voicemail,
Why not?
which maybe I'll play for
That's
the,
in closing.
in closing. Here we go.
Hey, Dean, this is Blondie. Sorry I haven't been in touch. I've had these best summer, but I've been busy practically every weekend, every week, every day. So I think Sunday is my day to rest. But anyway, I wanted to invite you to something. I don't know if you saw it on the internet, but a brewing company called Beacon Company is going to be launching my new beer called Crushable.
Let me translate.
She,
She has a new beer called Crushable. She invited me to the party. So yeah, I mean, she's doing well. I'll let her know you asked.
good.
No, man, this has been great.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you. And
let's do a. I want to come to Atlanta and sit in your recording studio and do the same thing.
yes,
Maybe with another guest or whatever. But you know, you and I can sit for 3 hours.
we would.
Not all of it's consumable, but you could edit it down. That's for you to do. You edit it down.
You're a good friend, Mr.
You're a smart guy. You edit it. And look, my gin is all over.
Thanks for being on. You were saying?
How many episodes do you got so far?
This is the second. 2 more to go. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Is that the standard package of 4?
All right. Be
Makes
well.
sense. Makes total sense.
Tell the fam, hey.
Love you, buddy.
Love you. Goodbye.
Have a good day.